trust you're well? I certainly am. And it looks as if these squirrels are too. I can't say for certain, but they just might be the culprits who devoured my tulips. But it's hard to stay annoyed for too long as I see them playing in the trees. I guess it's their garden too. On to some of the jobs I'll be doing in the garden today. Tending to some of the blueberries. We had an incredible harvest last year. I'm hoping we can have the same again this. So what I'm going to do is top up the containers with some ericaceous soil. I have in the past just used my own homemade compost, but to be very fair, there are some plants that really do thrive with the acidic soil or the ericaceous soil, and definitely my experience, the blueberries is such a plant. Here, I'm also going to prune back any dead, damaged or diseased branches. This will help to invigorate the plant. If it's not very obvious which branches to remove, it's a good idea to do the scratch test. This is when you just gently scrape back a thin layer of the bark, either with fingernails or the secateurs, and what it should reveal is either underneath it'll be green and rather moist underneath, and that will tell you that the branch is thriving, no problem there. But if when you scrape back it's either brown, dry and sometimes crumbly or brittle, then that's an indication that the branch itself will not be viable and it's worth removing. So here's a great example. I can really tell that it is a brittle, dry branch, but just scraping back, it's brown, therefore dry. So I'm going to cut back all the way into green wood, or where there is a bud, a flower, a healthy branch, or a node. Here, the entire branch is dry, dead, so it's being removed in its entirety. In so doing, it actually opens up the central part of the plant, which can be valuable because it allows for a lot of aeration. It also helps in managing the formation of the plant. As you can see here, the tip of this branch is dead. There'll be no growth here. So I'm cutting back to another branch where there are some new flowers that will form the new berries.
Another dry, indeed dead section to be removed. Have you heard of that saying before? Measure twice, cut once. I guess that applies to this situation too. If in doubt, perhaps leave it for now. Go away, do something else, and come back and make a decision. You can always cut later. But once you've cut the plant, oh well.
I will be doing this to all of my blueberry plants. I will also be pruning back some of my other fruiting trees, such as apples and pears. Pruning back can actually be done in the late autumn, certainly once you have harvested the fruits. Pruning can be done all through the winter, even whilst the trees and plants are dormant. I will be sure to bring you back to these blueberry hedges later on in the season and to show you just how well they're doing.
They're looking good. I can't wait. I plant a variety of different blueberries. I'm convinced that that definitely helps with the pollination of the berries and helps to ensure we get a bumper harvest. Blueberries done. Now to prune back one of the apple trees. I'm using secateurs again. There is actually a right way to hold them up, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. The slimmer blade should be closest to the plant, and that way it prevents the branch from snapping. I'm actually going to take this whole branch out all the way to the tree, but I'm going to do it in stages for the purpose of demonstration. Here I've made my first snip, but as you can see, there's a section that remains. That is likely to introduce disease to the plant. So again, another snip makes it closer to the little twig or branch. Again, moving down, I want to remove this, but if I snip it here, it means again I've left this section here, which will likely introduce disease to the branch, and it will die off. So it's better to snip all the way back down to this, and this will now become the new leading branch. Working my way along another branch. Because there is no node bud in this section here, it will die back, likely introducing disease to the branch. So again, what I'm going to do is snip it out all the way down to make it nice and smooth, and that will callus over in no time. Again, just below there appears to be a broken branch already, and you can see that's an example of where disease can now enter into the plant. So just snipping that off, making it nice and tidy as well. Again, removing the extra piece here, making it nice and neat, and keeping the sharpest part of the secateur closest to the inwards of the plant. And again, as opposed to cutting in the first position, I'll cut all the way back here to make a smoother continuous branch. And there we have it. As the branch is now much thicker than a pencil, my little finger, I'm now using pruning shears, also referred to as loppers, or my pruning saw. This one is a foldable one, it's a great one. This happens to be the name. I'm not sponsored. I took a branch out last year and it's healed very nicely. I'm now going to remove this long branch. It's hanging quite low and it's sort of interfering with the blueberries. When dealing with a long branch, what I like doing, having learnt a few lessons in the past, is actually just to snip half of it off. And that just lessens the load of the branch. Sometimes if you cut immediately towards the trunk, the weight of that branch could actually peel away. So by lightening the load, taking a few cuttings away first, as you saw me do with the pruning shear or loppers, I can then use the pruning saw to be more accurate, as you can see here, and cut a nice, neat, clean cut. It too will heal very nicely, like the one just above, which was only done last year. A reminder of just how amazing the blueberries were last year. They were prolific. We were picking them for weeks on end. I kid you not. So I really hope that the work I've just put in now will pay us back again this summer. I'll be sure to bring you back though.
Thank you so much for your company. I do appreciate you. Please do like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, but more importantly, take care of yourselves.